Welcome to Mini Money Mastermind with Mahira, your source for all things of finance. Till now, we've gone through the three methods of the government to earn income, which are taxes, borrowing, and printing money, respectively. Now the government is earning income, but where is the government spending it? How can the government directly support its country's economy? Don't worry, we'll find out that in this video. This video is the fifth video of one of my series, which is government money, and today's topic is typical government spending. Government's purpose during spending depends on its political priorities, the government's size related to the economy, and the level of debt. For example, if the government has a high debt, so the government will use most of its money on paying off its debt rather than the welfare of citizens or healthcare or education. For instance, the Scandinavian countries, Norway, Sweden, and Finland, are famously prioritized for their high welfare spending, which makes them the top 3 countries in the happiness index. Now the governments can also boost their country's economy by spending on infrastructure. As they spend on infrastructure, then tourist spots will increase. And if they spend on airports, then tourists from other countries can come to visit that government's country, and is increasing the government's income through tourism. Now let's discuss the main places in which a normal government spends its money through this pie chart. Friends, I hope you can see this picture clearly. In this picture, there is the pie chart showing the places in which a government spends its money. Now you might be thinking that this pie chart is showing the amount of money being spent by the government in these sectors. But actually, if you are thinking that, then you are wrong. The government does not spend its money equally in all these sectors. It depends on the things that are happening at that moment. Then the government will decide how much to spend in each sector. If there is a new outbreak of a new virus, then the government may spend more in healthcare. If there is a new war, then the government will spend more on defense. If there is a shortfall of schools in the nation because of increasing population, then the government will spend more on education. It just depends. So now let us understand the pie chart bit by bit so that we can understand the main places in which a government spends its money. Let's get started. So friends, now let's learn about education spending. Now investing in education can have significant social and economic benefits because education can improve literacy rates and it can reduce gender disparities. Also, it can promote civic engagement and participation. In addition, education can increase productivity and economic growth by providing individuals with the skills and the knowledge they need to contribute to the workforce and to innovate and create new technologies and different ideas. Government spending on education is an important area of investment in human capital development. Why? Because it plays a very important role in promoting social and economic development. And it will also help in reducing poverty and increasing productivity. Education spending can support a range of activities, from building and maintaining school facilities to hiring and training teachers, developing and implementing curricula, and providing educational resources and technology. The specific allocation of education spending varies from country to country, but in general, governments invest in education to improve educational outcomes, increase access to education, and promote social mobility. Now, scientific research is often funded by the government, and spending on education helps to train workers. See, these are the benefits of spending on education. Now, if the government spends some money on scientific research, then there will be invention, and then it would feed money into the economic growth. While spending on education can provide the training to make a workforce more productive. While education spending can be costly, particularly in developing countries or those with large populations like India. It is often seen as a necessary investment in the future of the society. That is true, because if a country is not educated in the future, what use will be people roaming around the street? I mean, it would be better if someone would be inventing something to fly. Like the humans will be flying alone. No aeroplanes. I don't like that. Too many people. Governments may also seek to balance their education spending with other priorities such as healthcare, infrastructure, and defense spending. Now, examples of education spending are basic education, like the government schools you see, and IIT, and AIMS, ISRO, DRDO, etc. Now, let me explain each of them. Now, basic education is like those government schools, as I told you, in like government primary schools in which the children of the needy learn. And IIT, the engineering colleges of the government, aims for medical treatment. ISRO, International Space Research Organization, for space researchers, and DRDO, which is doing defense related research. Abdul Kalam, whose quotes I told in so many videos that I even can count them, and there are more to tell. Well, that's a spoiler. Well, he was the chief of the DRDO. Overall, government spending on education is an important investment in the long term social and economic development of a country. By promoting access to education, improving educational outcomes, and investing in human capital, governments can help to reduce poverty, increase social mobility, and build a more prosperous and equitable society. Next, we have healthcare. Now, governments may invest in healthcare to support economic growth, as healthy populations are more productive and are able to contribute to the workforce. By providing access to quality healthcare services, governments can help ensuring that citizens are able to maintain good health and remain active and productive members of society. Healthcare is a very important area of government spending as it directly impacts the well being and quality of life of citizens. Governments around the world allocate a significant portion of their budgets towards healthcare. Why? Well, they have to fund hospitals, clinics, medical research, and public health programs. There are several reasons why governments prioritize healthcare spending. One of the main reasons is to ensure that all citizens have access to quality healthcare services, regardless of their financial situation. This is particularly important in countries where there are significant disparities in income and wealth, as those with lower incomes may not be able to afford necessary medical treatment. Another reason governments invest in healthcare is that they have to promote public health and prevent the spread of diseases. This includes funding for research into new treatments and vaccines, as well as public health campaigns to educate citizens on healthy behaviors and prevent the spread of infectious diseases. Now, some examples of the government funding in healthcare is like the COVID-19 vaccine and the government hospitals. Overall, government spending on healthcare is an important investment in the well-being and the future of the citizens. While the specifics of healthcare spending vary from country to country, most governments recognize the importance of prioritizing this area and allocate significant resources towards it. Next in the list, we have interest payments. Now, interest payments are not more than 5% of the government's spending. Now, examples of interest payments are like bond interest or matured bond payments. Interest payments are a significant component of government spending, particularly in countries with high levels of debt. Whenever a government borrows money, it must pay the interest on that debt to those lenders who have provided the funds. As a result, interest payments can consume a significant portion of a government's budget and reduces the resources available for other important priorities. There are several reasons why governments may need to borrow money and incur interest payments. One of the most common reasons is to finance infrastructure projects such as roads, bridges, and public buildings. These projects can require significant upfront investments, and borrowing can help spread the cost over time. Governments may also borrow money to finance social programs such as education, healthcare, and welfare. These programs can be expensive to fund, particularly in countries with large populations or high levels of poverty. In addition, governments may borrow money to finance their day-to-day operations, particularly during times of economic downturn or recession. In these cases, borrowing can help governments maintain critical services and prevent layoffs or cuts to important programs. However, high levels of debt and interest payments can also pose significant risks to a government's financial stability. When a government is unable to meet its debt obligations, it can lead to default, which can have serious consequences for the economy and for citizens. As a result, many governments are careful to balance their borrowing and interest payments with other priorities, such as reducing spending or increasing revenue through taxes. Overall, interest payments are an important consideration for governments as they can have significant impacts on a country's economic stability and ability to fund important programs and services. While borrowing can be an important tool for financing critical investments, it is important for governments to carefully manage their debt and interest payments to ensure long-term financial stability. Now let's talk about transport and communications. Government spending can directly support the economy, such as expenditure on transport and communications, like highways, airports, infrastructure, etc. Government spending on transport and communications is an important area of investment in infrastructure as it plays a crucial role in facilitating economic growth, social connectivity, and mobility. Transportation infrastructure includes highways, roads, bridges, airports, ports, and public transportation systems such as buses and trains. Governments invest in transportation infrastructure to improve accessibility, reduce congestion, and promote economic development. For example, a well maintained road network can help reduce travel times, increase trade, and promote tourism, while a robust public transportation system can make it easier for citizens to access education, healthcare, and job opportunities. In addition to transportation infrastructure, governments also invest in communications infrastructure such as telecommunications networks, broadband internet access, satellite communications. These investments help to promote connectivity, access to information, and economic development. For example, a high speed internet connection can facilitate e commerce, telecommuting, and online education, while a reliable communications network is crucial for emergency response and disaster management. Investments in transportation and communications infrastructure can also have environmental benefits. For example, investments in public transportation can reduce traffic congestion and air pollution, while the use of smart technologies can improve energy efficiency and reduce carbon emissions. Overall, government spending on transport and communications is an important investment in the long term economic growth and social well being of citizens. While these specific investments and priorities may vary from country to country, most governments recognize the importance of investing in these critical areas to support connectivity, mobility, and economic development. Next in the list, we have defense. Now, in defense, it includes both buying and making of weapons. Now, examples of buying and making weapons is like Agni missile. The government spent money on making the different kinds of Agni missiles. And I had recently told you about the government school, like the education, spent by the government. There I had given you the example of DRDO. Not only the education of DRDO is done in education spending, but also whenever DRDO creates any weapon, it needs money to fund for that. So the government had to spend on DRDO in defense as well. Now, government spending on defense refers to the money that the government allocates to support their military forces, including personnel, equipment, and operations. Defense spending is an important area of government investment as it is necessary for maintaining national security and protecting citizens from external threats. The specific amount and allocation of defense spending varies widely from country to country. Some countries, such as the United States, spend a significant portion of their budgets on defense, while others may spend a smaller amount. The allocation of defense spending is often influenced by geopolitical factors such as regional threats and alliances. Defense spending can be used to support a range of military activities, including training, equipment purchases, research and development, and military operations. It is often focused on ensuring military readiness and maintaining a strong defense posture. While defense spending is important for ensuring national security, it can also be a significant cost to governments, particularly in countries with large military forces or those involved in conflicts. As a result, many governments carefully balance their defense spending with other priorities such as social programs, infrastructure, and education. In addition, some critics argue that defense spending can have negative impacts on a country's economy as it diverts resources away from other productive areas. Others argue that excessive defense spending can lead to unnecessary conflicts and militarization, and that diplomatic and peaceful solutions should be prioritized. Overall, defense spending is an important area of government investment. Why? Because it plays a crucial role in maintaining national security and protecting the country's citizens. However, it is very important for the governments to carefully consider the costs and benefits of defense spending and to balance it with other important priorities. Next, we have welfare and pensions. Now, example of welfare and pensions, like any welfare scheme the government does for the well-being of the society, or healthcare schemes, like if the needy are not getting enough treatments and many are dying, so the government will assign doctors to, give them good medical care, and that's a healthcare scheme. They're helping the needy through a scheme. Now, government spending on welfare and pensions is an important area of investment in social protection as it provides support to individuals and families who may be vulnerable or in need of assistance. Welfare programs provide support to low income households, disabled individuals, and others who may require assistance. These programs can include cash transfers, food assistance, and housing subsidies, among others. Welfare spending can help to reduce poverty and promote social equality by ensuring that all citizens have access to basic needs and a minimum standard of living. Now, pensions are another important area of government investment, particularly as populations age and the number of retirees increases. Pensions provide financial support to individuals who have reached retirement age, often in the form of regular payments or a lump sum distribution. Now, pensions can help in ensuring that retirees have a secure and stable income in their later years and can reduce the burden on younger generations to provide support to aging relatives. Overall, government spending on welfare and pensions can have significant social and economic benefits. By providing support to vulnerable populations and ensuring that retirees have a stable income, these programs can help to reduce poverty, improve health outcomes, and promote social inclusion. However, it's important for governments to carefully manage these programs to ensure that they are effective and sustainable over the long term and to balance them with other important priorities such as infrastructure, education, and defense spending. Some governments also give subsidies to support key national industries, like the government gives a subsidy for encouraging the people to buy a certain product produced by a certain industry or sector. Let's go to the word-to-word definition of subsidy, which I have got from the internet. A subsidy in economics refers to the direct or indirect financial assistance from the government to an individual, household, business, or institution to promote social and economic policies. Its goal is to lower the cost of goods, commodities, and services, making them more affordable to the general population. Now, let's have an example of subsidies. Right now, the government is promoting electric cars in the automobile sector. Well, to do that, the government is using subsidies. Let's take it using an example. Let's say you're gonna buy an electric car. The electric car is 100 rupees like per unit. Let's take the example of 150 rupees. Now, this is only an example and it's not the true cost of the car, okay? So, you don't want to spend so much money on the car. Well, it's not so much, but just take it as an example. So, what the government does is that to encourage the public into buying those electric cars, it asks the seller to give the cars for 100 rupees per car only, and the remaining 50 rupees will be paid by the government. Like this, the government has encouraged the people to buy many products in the past, and it's continuously doing the same thing. This way, it is making people get ready to buy new stuff and also get used to it. Once the people get used to it and more people start coming into the market, the governments stop giving the subsidies and the car eventually returns to its own price. Now, what is the last slice of the pizza that I'm gonna eat? It's others. Now, in others comes the leftover money of the government. The government spends it on extras or sudden payments it has to make. I have just told you the main places where the government uses its money. But sometimes excess payments comes and there are new expenses for the government. So those new expenses come in the other slice. Now the pie chart is done and the pizza is eaten. So now what I gotta say? Now I gotta say that now let us have a short discussion of spending versus cuts. Well, after the 2008 financial crash, many governments have cut their spending to reduce their deficits. These decisions are controversial as the long-term effects on the countries are still unknown. Thank you for tuning into my channel, Mini Money Mastermind with Mahira. I hope you found the information helpful in your journey to financial success. Don't forget to hit the like button and share my videos with your friends and your family so that they also can benefit from my content. I appreciate your support and can't wait to continue bringing you more informative and actionable finance-related content. Until next time, happy money management. And do you know what is the quote of the day? Well, today's quote is said by a former president of USA. Never spend your money before you have it. This Thomas Jefferson, the former US president, had said. Bye.